The drag marks were still fresh. They cut across the thin March snow behind a small property outside Bozeman, Montana, starting near the split rail fence and ending at the tree line. The snow around them was pressed flat in a tight circle, as if something small had turned in place. Tom Miller noticed them before he even took a sip of his coffee. He stood on his back porch, mug warming his hands, watching the faint steam disappear into the cold morning air. The field was usually quiet at that hour. A few deer sometimes passed through. Once in a while, elk. This was different. Scattered tracks surrounded the dragline. Narrow paws, sharp claws. Coyotes. Tom set the mug down carefully on the railing. The neighbor's puppy had been outside the evening before. A sandy-colored mutt named Daisy who ran too far from the porch light and didn't always come when called. Tom stepped down into the yard. Halfway to the fence, he heard it. A sound that didn't belong to the wind. It came again, thin and uneven. Not a full bark. Not a howl. Just a strained little yip that carried from the direction of the woods. Tom didn't rush forward. He stood still instead, letting the sound settle into the morning. The wind moved through the cottonwoods in a low sweep. Somewhere overhead, a raven called once and went quiet. Then the yip came again. Closer than he expected. The snow near the fence showed where something small had tried to turn back. Tiny claw marks angled toward the house before disappearing into the larger tracks. Tom crouched and studied them. No blood. No scattered fur. Just disturbance. He straightened slowly and walked toward the trees, his boots cracking through the crusted snow. At the edge of the woods, the ground softened into damp soil and pine needles. The drag marks became faint, then disappeared completely beneath fallen branches. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, a soft scrape, like a paw shifting against bark. Tom stepped between the trees carefully, keeping his movements even. About 30 yards in, he saw them. 2 coyotes stood near a fallen log, lean and gray, their bodies angled toward something on the ground. They weren't lunging. They weren't feeding. They were watching. Tom stopped. He let the space between them hold. One coyote lifted its head first, ears forward. The other shifted, glancing back toward the deeper woods. Tom cleared his throat softly. Not loud, just enough. The coyote's attention shifted fully to him. Beyond the fallen log, partially hidden in shadow, Daisy lay pressed against the trunk. Her chest moved fast. One paw trembled against the dirt. Pine needles clung to her fur. Her eyes were open. Tom felt the cold air settle heavier in his lungs. He didn't shout, didn't wave his arms. He just took one steady step forward. The coyotes hesitated. Another step. After a long second, they backed away slowly, then turned and slipped between the trees without sound. Tom waited. He counted 5 breaths before moving closer. Up close, Daisy looked smaller than she had the day before. Her fur was damp along one side. Her breathing quick, shallow. But she was alert, watching him carefully. Tom crouched a few feet away and rested his hands on his knees. "It's all right," he said quietly, his voice steady. Daisy's ears flattened. Her paw twitched once more, then stilled. Tom extended his hand slowly, palm angled downward. He stopped short of touching her. For a few seconds, nothing moved. The woods held still around them. Even the wind seemed to pause. Daisy's breathing began to slow. Not fully calm, just less frantic. Tom moved closer inch by inch until his fingers brushed the side of her neck. She flinched, then stayed. He slid one hand beneath her chest, the other under her back legs. She felt lighter than he expected. For a brief moment, she resisted, a small stiffening, and then her body eased. Her chin rested against his sleeve. Tom stood carefully, turning back toward the open field. He walked at the same steady pace he had used to enter. In the mudroom, Tom laid Daisy on an old wool blanket near the heater vent. He didn't crowd her, just sat nearby while she adjusted to the warmth. After a few minutes, he called his neighbor. She arrived quickly, still wearing house slippers and a coat thrown over her pajamas. She knelt beside Daisy without speaking at first. Daisy lifted her head when she heard her owner's voice. Her tail tapped the blanket once. Then again. Not fast. Just enough. Tom stepped back, leaning against the wall. He noticed his coffee mug still sitting outside on the porch railing, untouched and cold. Later that morning, The local veterinarian confirmed Daisy was shaken and tired, but not seriously hurt. By evening, she was back home across the fence. As the sun set, Tom stood on his porch again. The snow had begun to melt, softening the field until the tracks were barely visible. From across the yard, he heard a small bark, uneven but steady. He didn't wave. He didn't call out. He just listened for a moment, letting the ordinary sounds return to their places.